I watched some Untold Stories of the ER. It's a show where doctors explain strange things that have happened in the emergency room. I watched almost 1 hour highlights of Australian women versus England women in the Women's ODI Cricket World Cup. I also watched the beginning and an hour's highlights of West Indies women versus England women in the Women's Cricket ODI World Cup. West Indies won. I watched a few interesting and funny videos, short animation videos from Chris Hallbeck. I'll put 2 in the description. I searched for environmental risk factors that increase the chance of autism because I thought that is good information for people to know. I'm not saying that people with certain conditions should not have children, but I think that the risk factors are still a great thing to know. According to the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences, the risk factors were advanced parental age at conception, prenatal exposure to air pollution or some pesticides, maternal obesity, diabetes, or immune system disorders, extreme prematurity or very low birth weight, and any birthing difficulty, leading to periods of oxygen deprivation in the baby's brain. Other risk factors were a sibling that had autism, and also there were different genetic conditions like Fragile X syndrome, Down syndrome, and Rett syndrome. I'll also leave links for sex differences in autism and the page on aphantasia from Wikipedia. I started reading Wikipedia again. I wasn't really trusting it as a great source because I read that some hackers were changing some articles in it. But then I decided I should really just stick with my instincts and read Wikipedia because I like the information that Wikipedia has. I have aphantasia, which increases autistic traits in people. Also, when I was being born, my mother's amniotic fluid sac was leaking, so they induced her with Pitocin. Additionally, one of my grandparents, all of his family members except his children are closely related to him. So I've had aphantasia from since my first memory. That's when you have no mind's eye. It's also called visual imagination. And I also had alexithymia from since my first memory. So that deals with your ability to talk about emotions and your ability to sense emotions in yourself. Sometimes I have no emotions, and other times I can barely tell what emotions I'm having. Me and my sister were also born in the same year. According to Autism Speaks, that actually is a risk factor for having children spaced less than 1 year apart. However, a lot of people in the autistic community don't like Autism Speaks. I don't really mind them because I just started reading about them maybe last year, but from history, a lot of people don't like them because they basically were saying a lot of depressing things about people with autism, and the people thought that they only were focusing on negatives of autism.